I'm Christian Jones with TaxProMarketer, and I've got Ben Greutman. He's here with me.
How's it going, guys?
We're standing right next to each other,
Woo!
which is fun. We thought about being in different offices, but we decided it'd be easier just to collaborate and talk together if we were in the same space. So if we look like we're kind of on top of each other, that's because we are. But this is going to be great. This is for CPE, just so you know, and I'm going to do a little bit of a housekeeping on the front end, just so you know how the CPE is going to work. If you've been with us on any of our recent webinars, you should be familiar with it, but I'm going to give you a link and I'm going to put that in the chat now. And this is the link you're going to use to drop in 4 different words that I'm going to give you along the way. So you should have that link down in the chat. I would just pull that up, and you want to get all the words in there before you click submit. So I've got 4 words at 4 different checkpoints that I'm going to give you as we go. And you just have to submit that at the end of our time to get your 1 hour of CPE. We cannot repeat the words. That's just kind of a part of the protocol of doing CPE in this way. It's just a part of the check that they give to us. You get to verbally say it. I can't post it. We can't remind you of it. Once we get past it, that's kind of it. So you'll want to write that down, or again, just load it into the link that I just posted and then click submit when we're all done. You guys have any questions on that before we get in to the content? If you do along the way, feel free to pipe up and let us know. So you're looking for those check words, and then we'll give you the word, we'll put it in the link, and we'll go from there. I would encourage you guys, if you have questions, use the question and answer panel. Use the webinar chat for, again, like stuff that's not as pertinent to the content we're going to go through. If you have like an audio problem from us or a video problem or something else, that's perfect for the chat. But use the Q&A as we go, and then we'll try and definitely get to some questions at the end. We would love to use this time to answer things that we either are talking about or things that we're not talking about specific to you. But I also want to give you guys one more link, right? I'm going to give you, let's see here. And I probably need to put in the HTTPS. Let me get you the right link. This is the link that I would encourage you all to use, that especially if you're not a client, especially if you're curious about what we do, that's a link where you can get scheduled with us. And it would be like a free one-on-one session with like Ben, myself, or Becca, or Noah. We've got a few other people. But if at any point while we're going through this content, you want to chat more with us, please feel free. Go ahead and use that link, and we can talk about something specific to this content or to you. We're here to help. And so you've got 2 links in the chat, just as a quick reminder for those that just got here. The first link, that CPE HQ with the /1613, that's going to be your link for putting in the check words. And then the second link is going to be your link for talking with us on some other topic, whether it's related to this, something for you specifically. But let's get going. And so we've been going through a content series that's kind of started from high level in terms of marketing planning, and then your overall marketing machine. We've been going through like just a high level, and now we've gotten a little more granular starting last week, where we got really into the weeds on local SEO and organic SEO, if you're familiar with that term. Just how do you rank organically on Google? And we mentioned last time that this session would be on paying Google to rank, otherwise known as an advertising campaign or pay-per-click advertising. So if you see that PPC on the slide here, you don't know what that means, that's pay-per-click advertising. We can advertise as a company, and I would encourage you, you can advertise in lots of places. We tend to find the best results on Google for our clients. There's some exceptions, but we're going to talk specifically about Google today, because in our industry, we found that to be most reliably the way that we're able to generate consistent results for our clients across a whole spectrum. And so again, if you want to know about organic SEO, if you want to know about marketing planning, or if you want to know about all of the components of online marketing that we offer, we've got those sessions recorded. They're in our members area. You are welcome to go to our members area for free and go and access, we call them our office hours. Any of our office hour recordings are all loaded in there for you guys. Okay, so here's a slide of me. Already did the intro, but I'm the vice president, and I'm specifically over our website and organic SEO, and that's my area of focus, and that's what we talked about last time. And we brought Ben on today because he actually is the one who launched and oversees our advertising department, but his technical title now is the director of innovation, because he puts his hand into developing lots of different things for us. He's kind of the wizard. And so I'm going to kind of get us through the intro and then tee Ben up basically to walk you guys through, hey, if you want to know about ads, and a lot of you have probably tried ads before, some of you haven't and are curious, we're going to try and present content today from a framework of, if you were to DIY this, if you were to try and take a step toward this, we want to teach. We want to explain. We want to take some of the mystery out. We want to give you tactics. We want to tell you what's working for us. I would encourage, and this is not, I'm not trying to be overly salesy or pushy with this. A lot of you probably don't need to wear the hat of also advertising in your business, right? Serve your clients, lead your team, lead your company. And unless you're just really geeked about advertising, or you really want to do it for yourself, or you're, bootstrapping it and you want to get started while cutting out the cost of having someone like us manage it, we want to give you enough tools to know what this looks like, to understand it, and to take a steps towards it, whether that's you on your own, you with someone else, or you with us. This is a really viable way to grow your business, and we're excited to get into this. But here we go. I'm going to give you the first check word. I'm going to give you the first check word. I'm going to put the link back at the top of the chat. So again, look at the chat, not the Q&A. That's the link. And your first word is click. Click is your first word. So again, if you joined us late, that link I put in the webinar chat, you're going to want to put the word click, like I'm clicking a mouse, click. That's going to be one of 4 words I'm going to give you for you to get CPE. Again, if you guys have any questions on this as we go, please let me know. But that's how you get CPE. I can't repeat the words. I can't type them. Once we move past them, that's it. I think you guys got it, but I just want to be clear. No one be angry at us at the end if you didn't pay attention. Okay, so the bigger question that TaxProMarketer is trying to answer is, how do you own your local online marketplace? Ads fits into that, but we want to do really well from top of funnel. How do people find you? Next, in the middle of the funnel, how do you get them to engage? And then at the bottom of the funnel, how do we get someone to take a step forward as a client? How do we get them to say, hey, I need your help, and here's the process that we lay out? And that's kind of our whole funnel. And it's a journey. It is a journey to do online marketing well. It's a relationship journey. And we've got a lot of different things that we bring to the table. And again, I already put Tax Pro leads in the chat. If you want to hear about other things we do, we'd be glad to help. You'll get a little audit from us where we'll kind of walk you through your website, what's working well, etc. But here's the journey. Here's the relationship journey that we believe you should think about as it relates to getting found online. First, you have to get aware, right? Or you have to generate awareness, I should say. You have to be visible. If you're not visible, however your website looks, whatever emails you're sending, all of that doesn't matter if people can't find you. Today is going to fit into awareness. In the future, we'll probably talk about email tactics, how to write good content, blogs, like there's other things to think about, but it all starts with awareness. And this kind of speaks to probably something that a lot of you are familiar with in our industry. And that's that building a good looking website is actually not super hard. We talked a lot about that last time, so I'm not going to go back there, but what we don't care about first in our company is how your website looks. I want it to be beautiful. I want it to do a great job of representing you and having your services. But your website, your online presence, and your ad campaign is first designed, or should be designed, to help you get found by your ideal prospect. And then we look at engagement and conversion and ascension. And so today is going to be, again, round 2 on awareness. Round 1 was the organic content we went through last time. And the goal with the awareness stage is to identify your target prospects and get them to consume your content or call your firm. So we're taking a different angle on that this week, but it's the same overall goal. We're wanting to generate traffic. We want you to get found. And that's where a lot of you probably find yourselves right now. If you're watching this and you're either not a client of TaxProMarketer, or if you've just never seen your online marketing work well before, this is your first goal. Generating traffic on its own is not like the end all be all, because if you get traffic and then there's no way to convert, there's no way to build engagement, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. But the first kind of upstream thing that we want to talk about today is generating traffic through an ad campaign. And again, I've hinted at this. These are topics we covered last week on the webinar. I put these slides in here just in case you're curious. Here are the big 3 things we talked about from last week's webinar on organic local SEO. What does Google's algorithm look like? What are they looking for on my website? What are the big 3 things that we kind of say to you guys are the most important things to focus on? Not all websites are created equal. Your content really matters. You want to optimize for engagement as it relates to your site. And as it relates to the Google My Business page, which we'll take a look at here in a second, you want to look at your backend optimization of your page. It's called your Google Business Profile. It's where you get reviews. That's where people can call you. That's where they can get directions. The backend optimization of that profile itself is massively consequential for getting organic rank. You also want to have a strategy for reviews, and you want to let this local component be local. And that's one thing about today that's going to be different is we don't just have to be local today. And Ben will get into this, but like for those of you that are like, hey, Christian, hey, Ben, I don't really want to target my local market. That's just not my thing. I've got clients across the country. I've got this weird service I offer that doesn't really matter about my city or my state borders. That's a lot of you. Ads is a way to go and branch out. Ads is a way to go and get found and generate awareness outside of your market. But in the organic sphere, it really is local, and let it be local, and then let ads be ads and get you found by other people. So again, today is pay-per-click advertising, specifically on Google. Here's kind of our digital dominance method. You can see ads fitting here at the top. And again, this is just a highlight. This cannot be the only thing you do with digital marketing. You have to think about other things. A robust, holistic, well-built, sustainable online marketing ecosystem is going to have way more than just a good ad campaign. It's really going to have a lot of other components when it's built well. And that's something we care about. But today is getting really dialed in on ads. And so within Google, right? We're talking about Google ads. You can run ads by paying to be on top. Your business can show up in the map section, and then your website can show up beneath the map. And so here's what that looks like. You can show up here in the map, and then your website could show up beneath it, but we're focusing here today. So if we can start to get more granular as we get into the meat of our content, we are trying to talk about how to build an effective ad that shows up here. And here's an example: CPA near me, bookkeeping service, payroll service, tax planning, tax preparation, whatever it is you're going for, this is where that's going to live. And how we get here to a well-built ad campaign that performs, that's what we're going to cover today. Those are the tactics that we're going to get into. And so before we get tactical, I'm going to give you the second word. The second word is impression. Impression. Impression is the second word. Again, I cannot repeat the words. You've got the link in the chat. That's where you're going to put your words and then submit at the end. And to get that CPE, you got to remember the 4 words I give you. That's just how this CPE system works. And again, I won't be able to tell you these later on, just to be clear. So impression is the second word. Okay. So now I'm gonna help. I'm gonna be here obviously with Ben. We're quite literally standing next to each other, so I can't leave. But Ben is gonna start to get tactical, and we're just gonna have a conversation around why ad campaigns fail, and then how to structure ad campaigns. And we're gonna get kind of granular into, I think there's 6 different areas that we're gonna bring to your attention. And again, if you're like geeking out, I want to do ads myself, then take notes, watch the recording, download the slides, follow our instructions, and you'll probably be able to do some damage. I'm not assuming a lot of you are going to run ads. I think maybe the angle we're trying to take today for those of you that don't want to do this yourself is to just convince you that this is viable. This is a viable way for you to get found, especially if your organic rank is non-existent. This is a really important way to start to get found by your ideal clients. But Ben, enough about my own take on ads. Let's talk about why campaigns fail, and let's just start the conversation. We'll go from there.
Sure. Awesome. Glad to be with you guys today. Here, let me kind of scooch up here a little bit. Yeah, so this is one great way to look at how to make a better ad campaign. An ad campaign that can perform better is to look at what makes ad campaigns fail and do the opposite or not do those things. And so this is, there's lots of reasons why it can fail. An ad campaign cannot fail or can fail, but these are kind of the 4 biggest things that we've identified. And there's a few reasons why this is important. One is because you're doing ads because you want your business to grow. So you want to do them correctly. And 2, you can lose so much money in Google ads if you don't get a few things set up correctly.
Yes.
Even if any of you have tried to do ads before, I'm sure a Google rep has tried to reach out to you. Their goal all the time isn't always that your campaign would perform well. A lot of times it's to try and get you to spend more money. you might not need to spend more money.
Right.
A lot of it is if you just did it better, you could lower that cost per click. You could get more in front of the right kind of person that you want to get in front of. And it'll be a lot more effective, right? That's the goal. So kind of quickly running through these bullet points here, fail to understand the AdWords auction process, and as well as the complexity with the CPA in the tax industry. So that's kind of a couple there. So the way that pay-per-click ads work is by an auction. You are bidding for a position. I think you guys saw in that previous slide, there's like four different ads. So you can bid on position. Okay, one costs more than position two, costs more than position three, right? So that's part of the bidding process, but it also depends on competition. If there's more people bidding, that's going to drive the cost of the ad up. So those are just some things that you want to be aware of. Competition in your area, how large of an area you're trying to focus on. So that's kind of what they mean there.
Right.
CPA and tax industry. You guys are all really in this industry, so you know that there's nuances there. You need to account for those when you're doing ads. And that has to go into the keywords that you use, the keywords that you avoid, and also this other category called negative keywords, which we'll talk about in a second. Next one, setting up one ad group for all of your services. That is not going to properly qualify the people that are looking for your services. Some people might be looking for tax planning. And let's say you also do bookkeeping or you do tax resolution work, those people are going to have different felt needs. And so if you put them all in the same ad group, then you aren't going to speak directly to that person. They aren't going to feel like the ad copy or the landing page or anything resonates with them. And so you're going to waste money on clicks that way by not properly calling out your audience, their problem, and the solution that you can offer for them.
Let me jump in here and then we'll go to the next slide to talk about those 6 areas. Billy, you got a good question in there. We see that and we will come back to that. Ads is great to target specific services or a specific avatar of client. And again, it depends on the ad campaign. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on your market area. But what you should never do that Ben just said, just to re-emphasize it, you should never run a catch-all generalized ad campaign, almost like your homepage of your website, right? The homepage of your website can be specific, right? But a lot of times it says, here's everything I do. When someone goes to your homepage, it's like, you scroll down the page, I offer these services, I've got this emphasis, I've got this, that, and the other. Here's kind of the menu, right? The full menu of everything I offer. With ads, specifically because of how the keyword auction process works. And hey, Karina, that's a great question too. And I'll come back to yours and Billy's question here momentarily. But the keywords, it's not the only thing because your ad copy matters, your landing page matters, your targeting matters. But like what Ben is saying here is there's an auction process going on for different keywords that has a variable price that changes throughout the year. And you're going to lose your shirt in terms of your spend, your budget, if you're not dialed in, because guess what? It's the end of the year. Do you guys think, yes or yes, that there's more people in our industry advertising right now? Yes. And so I run into people constantly when we do like, chats, when we do like a consultation with a potential client where they're like, God, I was doing ads and it was working and then it wasn't. And I don't know why. And a lot of that has to do with you don't know it's an auction process and you don't know about the variable price of keywords. And Ben used a phrase earlier, the different cost per click. That's a big thing today. So if you don't know about cost per click, that's very related to a pay-per-click ad campaign format. So there's different costs per click for different keywords. CPA could be $2 a click. Tax planner could be $10 a click. And there's a ton of nuance. And so we're going to try and throw not an exhaustive list at you. And we'll talk about negative keywords too, don't forget. But this really matters. And this is, again, why I would come back to probably a lot of you shouldn't wear the hat of, I'm going to do advertising for myself. I hope this is informative. And guess what? There's a lot of shysters out there too, who will take your money, run an ad campaign, and they don't know what they're doing either. And so we deal with that a lot. People that have been like, I paid someone to do ads and it didn't work. The problem isn't Google ads. The problem is how you build the campaign, the targeting and such. So Ben, I'm not trying to steal any of your thunder. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Get quick wins with paid search on Google. Let me speak on this, Ben, and you jump in too. If you were to become a client of TaxProMarketer, and some of you are, here's probably what you heard when you signed up or what I would tell you if you were considering working with us. In the long run, I want you to rank organically. I want you to rank at the top of page 1 in that map section with your profile that has Google reviews. You don't have to pay to be there. That's free. That's a product, again, of what we talked about last time. How's your Google page built? How's your website built? That matters a lot. But it's also not overnight. Like when we build a new website for our clients, or we take over their Google page and we're optimizing it and doing all the things we talked about last time, you can see results somewhat quickly. It's all dependent on your market. Were we starting from scratch? Did you have something that you brought to the table when we took it over? Were you close to the top of page 1, but you just weren't quite there? Those are all variables where I can't tell you exactly how fast your organic rank is going to start generating leads. But ads will the second we flip the campaign on. So if you're not getting leads from Google right now, or if you're just saying, and this is probably, again, a lot of you who are listening to this, especially in the future, if you watch this recording, you're getting referrals and you want your online marketing to perform better and you don't know where to start. And if you've got capacity to start taking on new clients, they're looking for you. Let's aim at organic. Let's aim at unpaid free traffic, but let's start getting you clicks and engagement through a paid search campaign. That's not the only reason you would do an ad campaign. A lot of our clients, especially like tax resolution or bookkeeping, it's year round. There's no deadlines really, although I know there are, but generally speaking, it's not like as seasonal as tax preparation is. You could advertise year round and get results, but most certainly this is a strong consideration for a new client to us. If you work with someone else, run an ad campaign at least for 3 to 4 months while we're getting the organic going. So hopefully that concept makes sense. That's a strategy for why you'd consider using ads. Anything else you'd add on that?
Yeah, something you actually touched on sooner and we've done in previous webinars, and that's the local aspect of the services that you guys offer, how Google has you guys categorized locally. So yes, there's this part of it where you do ads to kind of get some quick wins as your organic presence is building in the background. But the other way is maybe you want to expand. Maybe you want some more leads and you don't want to or don't have the capacity to open up a new office. You can leverage advertising to put yourself in a new geographic market and start getting more eyeballs from another market to get more leads from another area. So that would be the other way, is to kind of help get you started or to help augment and expand what you have going on.
Well said. So Ben, this is kind of the meat of our presentation now. Here's like the tactics. Here's if you want to get in the weeds and do this yourself or understand it, these are the 6 sections we're going to talk about and cover. And I'll again interject, but Ben, anything about this from an overall just view, or do you want to just get into it?
Just quickly to say that you guys can see that there's a lot involved. There's a little more to it than just like you flick one lever and all of a sudden everything's out the door. There's some content creation, there's some page creation, there's keyword research involved. There's reporting. I can't stress that enough.
Yes.
You want to know if the ads are doing well or not. And there's no way to know that unless there's some kind of reporting metrics. You know how to interpret those.
And this.
Active management, optimization, what to do in light of that data that you've looked at. So there is quite a bit involved. And so we're going to kind of touch on a lot of those things today.
Yep. Okay. So Ben, here's some ad groups. Tell us what we're looking at. What is this in terms of building an ad campaign? What's the importance of this? And how would you think about ad groups?
Yeah. So, and this is actually going to touch on Karina's question that she had as well too. So
got it.
Basically, a lot of you guys do a lot of these services and they would fall under one kind of umbrella. If someone comes to you for their accounting services, maybe you're also going to do their bookkeeping. Maybe you're also going to do their payroll. Maybe you're going to do some type of advisory work for them. So there's a number of things that you all package together. But the difference is that people don't necessarily search that way. When people have a need for a service, they are going to type in the thing that they think they need. I need a bookkeeper. I need a CPA, I need an accountant. So when you can make a separate ad group, you can control the advertising headline, which is the larger font at the top, or the advertising description underneath, and then even the landing page that they click on from the ad to all speak directly to that person's need. And just convincing them, I needed an accountant. This is the accountant that speaks to where I'm at. They look credible. They go to the landing page. Yes, this is kind of everything that I need. They do the call to action. They call you from the landing page, whatever it is. And then you can kind of augment, talk about the other services, everything else that they need. But a lot of it is just getting them through the front door by using language and keywords and ad groups, content that resonates with what their felt need is in the moment.
Right.
And that is the value of having these different ad groups, is you can speak more to the person that's looking for that specific thing that they think they need, and the body of keywords that go along with that specific kind of microservice or ad group or whatever.
Right. And this will lead into different keywords, but let me just say something else about ad groups. This also, if you listen to our marketing planning webinar, it's been a few weeks, so if you forgot it, if you were with us, or if you've never heard us do that, generally speaking, you want to first try and figure out, hey, who is my ideal client? Who's my ideal, avatar? What are they interested in? What are their pain points? And that also influences, like, the question, what part of my business do I want to grow? Because not all of you want to grow all parts of your business. And so that's also a way to think about these ad groups, is specific areas of your company that you want to see
That's good.
be, again, increased. I don't want to do as much compliance, tax prep work. Great. Let's talk about bookkeeping. Let's talk about high-level accounting. Let's talk about tax planning. Let's talk about these things, but those should all be thought through before you get here. What part of your business do you want to see grow? And then that starts to influence and inform these ad groups and stuff that we will go into.
And I think along with that, as you're figuring out the service that you want to grow more, get more clients in, the avatar, then the next part is doing keyword research, getting inside their head, and how is that avatar searching for those services? What do they call those services? And that's going to inform the keyword research that needs to happen.
And good segue, Ben. Here we are, keyword research. And so tell us what we're looking at, and tell us, if I wanted to run or start an ad campaign, what do I need to know about keyword research, both from a positive and a negative standpoint?
Yeah, so these are just two lists of sample keywords, and you can see that some of them have quotes around them, some of them don't. Maybe you have also seen some keywords that have the straight brackets around them. All of those tell Google different match types that you want for those keywords. But basically, so here's a list of terms that we've done keyword research on, and some of them are like, well, duh, of course, that would be something. But there's also some other things in there. So on the left side there, you can see about halfway down, there's one that says double entry accounting. That is a term that someone actually types into Google when they're looking for help. So that would be a great keyword to have in your campaign, so that you can get traffic from people that are looking for that keyword. Payroll solutions, tax and accounting services. So all of these, a lot of it's just doing the research to see how people are looking for the services that you want to advertise for, and kind of taking those next steps. And the next part along with that, I'm not sure that there was a slide related to the different match types, but
that's what these quotations are, right?
Yes. So in Google, they kind of have a little code. If you put a keyword or a key phrase in quotes, no quotes, or in brackets, those correspond to three different match types, which are broad match types, phrase match types, and exact match types. If there's one huge caution I can give you guys, it's to sparingly to never use broad match keywords. The reason why is because that means you are giving Google free rein to show your ad to anyone that they want to, that they feel even kind of matches with the word or phrase that you have in there to show an ad.
Right.
The next best thing is phrase match keywords, which is kind of like, if someone does a search and it includes most of these words, and they are mostly in this order, it's probably a good fit. Show them a keyword. So that's drilling down to a little bit more focus. And then an exact match is when someone only types in this exact phrase in this exact order, show an ad.
Right.
So as much discovery as you can do, and this happens over time, and this is part of looking at the data and optimization, exact match keywords that you learn from things called search terms, you want to add those in because they typically are the cheapest. They are the most qualified because you know that they are looking for the exact thing that you're offering.
Right.
So a great example of what not to do, using a broad match keyword of the word tax. That is one of the worst things that you can do. If you want to see how fast you can flush money down the toilet.
Yeah.
Use a broad match for the word tax.
Right.
Reason why is you're letting Google, anyone who types in that word for anything, maybe they're looking for their county tax office. They want to pay their property taxes. There's some other kind of tax. Maybe it's part of a word. I am not joking. Maybe somebody types in taxidermy. Like you don't want to do that.
We've seen it.
In general, you would use a broad match keyword for a limited amount of time to basically say, I don't even know what people are searching for, and I have money to spend to learn that. So you put in a broad match and you watch it closely, see what search terms that brought in, and then convert those into keywords and turn it off.
Right.
Most people don't do that. The Google rep that's calling you is not going to tell you to do that. They're going to say broad match everything so that you can show up in front of everybody. You don't want to show up in front of everybody. Right. You want to show up in front of your ideal client.
Right. That's really helpful. And I think, well, I don't know if we have a negative keyword section. We might talk about that here, but again, broad match, helpful for doing research. This all goes back to, I hope some of you are like, I don't have time to think about this. That's good. You shouldn't probably be the active management kind of participant in your ad campaign, but that is like a thing. Whenever you advertise, because of what Ben just said about how broad match keywords work, phrase match works, and knowing that you need to go and refine and adjust and tweak, that's this active management thing we'll come back to, but like that applies to this area. It kind of applies to every area. You have to actively manage all components of this. Maybe it's your content, maybe it's your offer, maybe it's your keywords, maybe it's your geographic area. There's lots of things you need to actively manage, but having time and space and some experience, that's when having a good advertising partner and the management fee that they charge you is worth its weight in gold, because they're going to shortcut all of this, give you your time back and do this properly. And I'm just saying, not just in our industry, generally speaking, you can take a course on how to run Google ads on YouTube and then say, I'm a Google ads, pro. That's a huge problem. Is a lot of people that probably shouldn't be running Google ads who do, and you want to be leery of that. And so that's a great question to ask them. I think we'll have a list of questions you can ask your provider if it's not us, right? If you're working with someone else, hey, what do you do in terms of active management? What does that look like? Because that's really important. Okay, let's see if we've got negative keywords, Ben. We don't. Hey, tell us briefly before we go to landing pages about negative keywords.
So negative keywords it's a whole separate category, and they are just as important as what is a normal keyword, or I guess you could call it a positive keyword. And what a negative keyword is if the search phrase that someone types in, it could be includes this word, do not make an ad for me show up. Here's a great example. If you have a phrase match keyword of accounting services, that would allow in, accounting services near me, accounting services team, whatever that is. You're like, sure, yeah. If someone types in that,
best local accounting services.
Best local accounting services. Yes, make an ad for me show up. If someone types in cheap accounting services, you do not want that to get caught in your keyword phrase match free accounting services.
Right.
So that would mean that you would need words like free, cheap, careers. So that's another one. Maybe you're not looking to hire and you don't want to waste a click on someone typing like accounting service careers or something like this. Someone looking for a job. Maybe you are looking to hire. That would be a whole separate ad group for a whole other discussion. But negative keywords are super important to kind of hone in more on the types of clients that you don't want to work with because they're not exactly what you want. So those are typically the easiest ones to pick on.
That's great.
Super important.
So we've talked about different types of keywords, broad, phrase, and exact. We've talked about how to use those different tools so that you actually are actively managing this well, and negative keywords. So there's a lot in this section, and this definitely deserves your attention because this then influences who sees your ad. Everything else from here is, well, now they're seeing it. And so that's like down the funnel, but this is like really important because this is how you determine, again, the different keywords and then what those costs are, and then the way that you use those different phrase, broad and exact and negative. This takes a lot of time to do well. This takes a lot of time to do well. All these steps do, but I would say this is probably, some of you might say, I could write an ad, right? I could write a landing page if I really needed to. Probably a lot of you have never done a lot of keyword research. And if you have, great. But like, this is where all of these steps in some way, but this area specifically is kind of where you make or break your campaign, or let's say you can break it really easily. You can break it really fast in this section. But let's talk about landing pages. Just general thoughts. What does your landing page, what does a good landing page like do? What's the focus? Are we directing people to our main website? Ben, what should we know about landing pages?
Yeah, so the thing with landing pages is if people are, this doesn't happen in every industry, but we're lucky in this industry that this happens. No one hobby searches in this industry like they would for like the new Air Jordans, right? If someone is looking for accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, tax help, it's because they actually need that help. So that means you want them to know immediately what they're supposed to do when they get on your landing page and how you can help them, how you can start that conversation. Everybody subconsciously, when they get to a landing page, they're looking for things that they're supposed to do. What's the path that I'm supposed to go on? What's the quote unquote correct answer? What am I supposed to do next? And so lighting up that runway for these people, you're here, there's a headline that speaks to the keywords that they typed in, and we're ready to start the conversation is exactly what you want to see. And using some kind of like real short questionnaire is a great way to do that. Sometimes people might not be in a place where they can pick up the phone and call you. They might not want to just go to a contact page and fill out name, email address, and kind of write a message. So kind of leading the way with a questionnaire is a great way to get the conversation started.
Yes.
Some of you guys have probably heard about people using things called lead magnets, like, hey, give me your name and email address, and you'll get a free report, some kind of free download. That's not bad, but I would say for advertising in this industry, if people are looking for this, it's because they are actually need specialized help. They aren't looking to get a booklet that they can read. They want someone to help them. And so bypassing even the ebook and just, hey, let's start the conversation right now is what we have found has worked the best in this industry with the clients that work with us.
And we used to use lead magnets. We used to have reports we would produce every year. And if you've been with us long enough, you probably remember we would make a new lead magnet every year. And then we switched to this kind of questionnaire survey, hey, just kind of a carousel, one question at a time, 5 to 7 questions. And it's been really, really as a change, because again, if they click your ad, it's not because they're bored and they want to learn, you know, everything about all your services. They're there because they've got a problem. Let's facilitate that engagement and that relationship process of just clarifying to the lead, you're in the right place and I can help with your specific problem. This is also a great way to weed people out. And I see a lot of people use their like direct calendar page on their homepage website and on their ad campaign. And what we don't want with ads is to get a bunch of unqualified leads filling your calendar that now you have to spend 15 to 30 minutes with. You want to vet people. You want to vet people a bit. And this is the way that we do it. There's other ways to do it, but this is something we found that works really well. And that again takes place on your landing page. And hey, a check word, if you're tuned out for any reason, just want to announce there's a check word coming your way. And that check word is Peter. I don't know why it's that. Thank you, Nate.
That's the name of my son.
Peter.
Yeah.
Peter is the third check word. I think that's because Peter was in the office the other day. That's probably why he made it that. So number 3 word, again, let me put that link at the bottom of the webinar chat, just in case you don't have it. This is where you're going to put all your keywords. We can't repeat them. Peter, check word number 3. Okay, we're going to keep going. Okay. Clear reporting. Ben, tell us about reporting and how that helps in an ad campaign.
So this is a customized report that we use for our clients. All of this data is available right from your Google Ads dashboard. It just doesn't look as pretty. It's in like a number of different places you got to click around in. And so it's real nice to just kind of have a snapshot of some KPIs, key performance indicators that can help inform you on how things are going and maybe what you need to kind of change to optimize in the future. So here's kind of some key things here. One, let's just start up at the top.
Go here.
Yeah, you want to be able to see how much interaction your ads are getting. You want to be able to see the click-through rate. So that's how many times your ad shows versus how many times it's clicked on. When your ad shows up, it's called an impression. Okay, when someone clicks on it, those two factors together create your click-through rate.
Yep.
Industry average is right around 1%. That's kind of normal. For us, that is like, if we see our clients are only getting 1%, we're like, oh man, we really got to drill down and see what we can do to help improve this, because we can typically get a lot better. And so the difference between 1% and 2.4% might not mean much, but it's over 2 times as much.
Well, and at
that's a
scale with
lot.
tens of thousands of impressions, it does matter a lot. And this is
Oh,
why,
right.
again, when you're getting reports, knowing what, and again, this is your guys' space, right? Your accountants and tax professionals and bookkeepers, like seeing a number is one thing, understanding the importance of a number is another thing, knowing what that number means. And so you really want to focus on your click-through rate. And then of course you want to focus on your actual leads. And so for us, that's website form submissions and ad generated phone calls, because this does need to lead to real potential leads.
Exactly. And so you guys can see there all the way on the left, you can see the clicks, and then those clicks where someone actually did something is a lead. And so that's what we're really, really excited about. That conversion rate of 75% is phenomenal.
314 to 238 equals 75%. Yeah. So 314 of my clicks, 238 of those clicks converted into something more actionable as a real lead.
Yeah. And so you can see also over there to the right, you have the average cost. You can see the cost per click of $3.87. So every time someone clicks on the ads, you would get charged $3.87. That is a really good number. That's really cheap. Now, that's not something that anyone can guarantee in any market at any time, right? Depending on the time of year, there's going to be more competition that's going to drive the cost per click up. A lot of it also depends on geographically where you are trying to have your ads show up, and also even what the competition is doing in that local area. You might have somebody in your area that is just, they are blowing the doors off. They aren't optimizing their ad campaign, and they're willing to spend as much as they can to get a click. Don't even be in competition with those guys. Kind of you can set your cost per click ceiling that you're willing to do, and it can help to make some things cheaper for you. But I've seen in different markets, $18 or $20 a click, and that's also not bad for that market in that time period. It really just kind of fluctuates, and so you have to be aware of that seasonality as well. So you can see the line graph there, and then down at the bottom here, you can kind of see the different ad groups that this ad campaign had, which ones were getting the activity, what the cost was in that specific ad group, the click-through rate, and this can actually be really, really informative. Okay, so here's what this data is telling me, as is just even seeing these 5 ad groups at the bottom. There isn't really a lot of activity, new leads coming in for payment solutions. That's just not where there's a lot of traffic. That might tell me, you know what, this isn't where I even want to focus or try and optimize right now. There's way more activity in payroll services and accounting and CPA. So at this point, I might pause my payment solutions ad group altogether. I might even want to pause my business coaching. Maybe you're like, wow, just this payroll services one, that's what's bringing in my favorite leads right now. Then by pausing those ad groups in the campaign, it automatically redirects and focuses more of your ad dollars in your budget towards these other ad groups.
Exactly. So this is really helpful, because this is where you can't get a full picture of everything, but you should be able to get a quick snapshot of diagnostically what's happening. Let's just get a report that's a snapshot of, again, leads, click-through rate, ad cost. And you might not, this report's pretty great. You might not spend $1,200 in a month and get 238 leads, but it does happen. It can happen. And some of you only need 2 to 3 good leads a month for the services you're going after. So again, it's apples to oranges. It depends on what service you want to go after. It depends on the activity. But if I gave some of you 5 great qualified leads a month from an ad campaign, you might be drowning if you landed all of them, right? And so it depends on your scope and your scales. This can be what you need it to be. And that again goes into keywords and design, all the stuff we've talked about. Here's some more. We'll skip past these, but these are just some more examples of results. You can see here a 9.3% click-through rate. Not everyone gets that, but there are times where we are able to get kind of obscene conversion rates.
And I would also point out with this quickly, you can see that the conversion rate is much less. Okay. And so that doesn't necessarily mean anything's wrong. A lot of it just could have to do with that ad group and the type of people that are searching, or further pre-qualification on the landing page where someone's like, you know what, this really isn't for me. Maybe I don't own a business. Maybe my business doesn't make as much as they want for the people they work with. So
Right.
number of things there, but that's all really just
Yes.
to look at.
Yes. And you have to be nuanced with how you approach these reports. There isn't like, if your cost per click is this and your conversions is X and your click-through rate is Y, like it really is different client by client on what success really looks like. General ballparks, over 1% click-through rate, regularly getting conversions from those clicks, and not having an astronomical cost per click, which is again relative, but like some of you wouldn't mind spending $20 a click if it really got you the right lead, right? It's not always wrong to compete for expensive keywords, but you also can lose your budget really fast on expensive keywords that are irrelevant. That's definitely more likely. Okay, more results, more results, more results. Fourth check word, and we've got some time. That was great. We've got about 12 minutes. We've got some questions. I'm going to give you the fourth check word. We have a little more content, but then I'm going to start answering some questions with the time we have left. But the fourth check word is audit. Audit. Your fourth check word is audit. Again, I can't put it in the chat. Please don't put it in the chat yourself. I can't repeat it. And then you'll submit that through the link that we've been posting. Let me post that again for y'all, just so you have it. In the chat, I'm putting the link again. Fourth check word, audit. And so that's where all four of your words will go for you to submit to get your CPE, which is great. We love for you guys to get that. If you missed some of the words earlier, again, we can't repeat them. So that is the fourth. So this fits within a framework for us. This fits within a framework of other components that you definitely need to consider. And again, ads is a great way to get quick wins. Ads is a great way to sustainably or consistently over time go after a certain client type or service type that's not as tied to a deadline, right? It's a great way, especially for tax resolution. I wish we had some of our recent tax resolution campaigns, their data, because we've got some really good campaigns going. I think, yeah, we don't need to talk about that. Let's not talk about tax resolution data campaigns. I do want to address some of the questions that have come up. Kevin, Ben, I'm going to kick this to you. Do you recommend having multiple ad groups for separate office locations? And then I'll finish the content and we'll come back to the next questions. But Kevin's been waiting a while.
Ooh, yeah. Kevin, I love that question. So it can actually be answered two ways, and it depends on what your goals are. So here's what I mean by that, is if you have a separate ad group for two different offices, that would allow you to see activity and searches and even search volume and clicks for each of those different regions. So that might actually help you. It might be really telling, like, oh man, there's way more activity on my San Diego office than there is in my LA office. So maybe you just want to funnel everything more towards one or towards the other. So that's one way to think about that. The other way is if you want to focus, if you want to call out that local market. If you want to call it that local market, then yes, have in your offices or maybe in two different cities, that would allow you to really custom tailor, local San Diego accountant. That might resonate with your audience even more, just to know that you're local. They could drive to your office if they wanted to. So that actually might help with interest, with cost per click. It would help to differentiate you from maybe some of the big national players that are just dumping millions of dollars into their ad campaigns. So yes, I think that there is real value in having separate ad groups for your two different offices, and they could look almost exactly the same, just different geo-targeting and then swapping out a few words.
Right. Great question, Kevin. And we're going to get some more questions here momentarily. I'm also going to get through the end of our content, and then we'll just, again, do Q&A until the top of the hour, and then we'll get out of here. TaxProMarketer, here's a little bit of a flyer just on us. Ads fits in with marketing as a component. And I just want to clarify that. Advertising and marketing are different things. And so you want to have a well-built site that ranks on Google. You want to deal with local SEO. You want to have relational email marketing. You want social media. And then Client Stack is like our tools app for call tracking, texting, call recording, other email campaigns. Ads, when it's fit within these other marketing components, now you've got a robust ecosystem. And that is, again, back to this, the digital dominance method. Ads is a part and it's connected to the whole. And so if you've ever done ads before, or if you're curious about doing ads now, you can get results. You can get results just by advertising. But if you shut off your ad campaign and you don't have any of this other stuff dialed in, your leads go away. And for our clients that are also doing well organically, Their website shows up naturally. They're not having to pay for that placement just because of how we built their site, how we handled their Google page. Well, now you are still getting clicks and leads. And even if you shut your ads off, you've still got people coming through. So ads for us is, again, it's viable. It's timely. It's going to be something that gets the ball moving more quickly for someone that doesn't rank organically at all. So that's definitely something to consider, but you want to address this overall ecosystem as well. How do you follow up with leads? How do you handle your social media pages? How do you handle your local listings, like your Google business profile? Does your website, the back end of it, is it properly connected to Google? These are all other questions that we didn't address today, but that we do address in our growth package. So if you are curious about the whole system, talk to us about our growth package. If you're like, hey, Christian, I got no time, I just want to clarify, this is what we ask our clients to do. This is within our growth package. We need you to review and send the weekly emails that we produce. We need you to get reviews using Client Stack. And then we need you to ask us questions when you need help. I want to point out this middle area, because however you get reviews, if you get more reviews, your ad campaign will perform better. Because when someone sees your ad, they might then Google your actual business name. And if you've got 0 reviews or only a handful and they're all old, that's going to kind of lower your conversion rate. And so your ad campaign doesn't have a lot to do with reviews itself, but it's, again, a part of your ecosystem. Your ecosystem of your business. People are going to look at your Facebook page. They're going to look at your website. They're going to look at your Google page. And so I'd really encourage you, even though we didn't talk about reviews today, I would say that anecdotally, I don't have some, set of data or tables to say, here's what happens when you have reviews versus not for your ad campaign. But in my experience, I think Ben would agree, if you have 0 reviews or very low reviews or bad reviews on your Google page specifically, that is going to hamper and hinder your performance of your ad campaign, because it's not linear. It's an ecosystem. People bounce around.
I think, simple question, if you were looking for a professional service that you needed help with, you didn't know any of the top results from Adam, and one of them had 0 reviews and one of them had even 6 or 8 reviews that were 4 to 5 stars, you probably pay more attention to them. Exactly. And that's what people are doing when they're looking for you. That's why it's important, is because we all do that.
Exactly. I love that. Okay. If you have other questions, email us. I'm going to go back to the chat and the Q&A. And if you want to drop a question in the Q&A, we've got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think we got a few other ones there. Derek, do you recommend Yelp? If not, why not? Thanks. And are you to chime in on this too?
Yes.
We do have some clients that run Yelp ads on their own. We don't run Yelp ads for our clients. And they've told us that they've had some success with them and that they're getting leads from there. We think that's great. But we also know that the way that things work, most people are on Google when they are looking for your services. Most people that are looking for restaurants go to Yelp, not when they're looking for an accountant. Beyond that, I mean, I don't totally agree with a lot of the business practices that Yelp has with some different things. I don't like the way that they even do some of their reviews. And so we've seen better results and a better system and everything just using Google. But
Yelp is the mob. Don't give the mob money.
Well, there you go.
Don't give the mob money. I don't like Yelp. We were Yelp certified partners, and Yelp is viable. And so credit to them. They've got a platform that people do use. What Ben just said is 100% true. In our industry, Google is way more relevant than Yelp. But I would love for you to have a few reviews on Yelp. I would love for you to have something. Whether or not those reviews ever get posted is another issue. And whether or not your ad campaign, actually works is, again, another issue. And so I've got a client in mind who's been with us a while, who swears by Yelp. He gets reviews on Yelp. He runs an ad campaign and he's tax prep focused and he does well. That does happen. But there's also, again, the kind of the mobster stuff that you just have to deal with. They really do kind of jack with people. I could give you stories, but I don't respect that ad platform, and it's viable, but it's not half as good as Google in terms of volume and success. And it's worth considering, but if you're doing accounting and bookkeeping, I wouldn't go to Yelp.
So a couple quick things with that. This one client that has had success on Yelp, they are definitely the exception and not the rule.
Yeah.
And 2, again, just kind of positing the same question I did before. If you were looking for professional service help, a plumber, an electrician, an accountant, a tax professional, most people, even subconsciously as I'm saying that, they're going to go to Google and do a Google search.
Right.
That's where the people are. That's where they're looking. That's where you want to be. And that is a great first step, and maybe even the only step that you need to take in terms of advertising. Gabrielle,
Gabrielle.
how often should I get reviews in Google? As many and as often as you can,
All the time,
and respond to all of them.
constantly.
Yeah, it is worth it. Any review that you get and any review that respond to is so worth it.
Yes.
So yeah, but I would just make it a part of your workflow to have automatic reviews sent out to people when they finish service. When they're in the office, even before they leave, ask them to kind of, give them the link. Hey, would you leave us a review? Whatever it is, make it a part of your workflow,
right,
and habit to ask people to leave you reviews on Google.
This is something, Gabriel and others who are here, this is something you're going to forget about. And this is something that you should have a system for to help you remember. Like Ben just said, you should have a system to help you remember how to text and email your clients. And I'll also tell you, there's a way to ask for review requests that makes your client's life easy. And then there's a way that ask for a review request that makes them have to go search around the internet to find you. Leaving a Google review is not as obvious as it should be. There's a lot of little buttons and calls to action on your Google page. I'm tempted to go show you a page right now, but let's do that later. If you want to take a look at your page and your reviews, go ahead and grab an appointment with us.
We can answer these last few questions. Billy asked one
near
the beginning over here. What happens to unused budget? They don't charge you. So unused budget just kind of stays, or they just don't do another charge pull on the card.
It rolls over.
Yeah.
Right.
So no, you're not going to flush unused money down the toilet. They wouldn't do that.
Right.
Do we recommend different ads for tax preparation and bookkeeping? Absolutely, 100%.
Yes.
And I feel like we answered that over the course of the presentation. What is an ideal budget for Google ads for a month? A lot of that depends on what your goals are. We found that $600 in spend is typically enough to get one geographic market or part of a market taken care of.
Right.
And so typically that's enough for a lot of people to start with. The more geographic area you want to cover with ads, the more that you need to spend.
Right.
Up to, if you wanted to, I want the entire continental United States, plan on spending $10,000 a month in ads.
Or more.
And that's way more. You can't serve all those people anyways. So a lot of times we found a way to keep ad costs low is to just focus on that local market. Just leverage your location and let it work for you in that way.
Okay, we've hit the top of the hour. There's some good questions that came in. I'm sure there's more stuff that you guys want to talk about. I put the link back in the chat. If you guys want to chat with us more, if you're not an existing client, feel free. If you are an existing client, just send us an email and we'll definitely address any questions that come up. And we'll have more office hours that come up for CPE. We'll email about that. But I'm going to call this a wrap, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being an engaged audience. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time. Have a good rest of your Wednesday, and we'll talk soon.